too. But you're blocking my view. I know you got issues, but I got my shit too. I don't wanna be your therapy no more, no more. You don't wanna hear this, but it's you, it's not me. Ooh, gotta go and grab a spoon now. Ooh, make a life for myself. Ooh, I don't know what I'ma do now. Ooh, but I don't need your help. Get out of my way, my way. I'm moving on up. Don't make me stay, to stay. I'm done being stuck. Get out of my way, my way. I'm moving on up. The last thing I will ever do for you is wish you the best of luck. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Catch you on the flip side. Maybe we can be friends when you're not so fragile. When you know yourself well, somewhere down the sweet line. When I do things for me, 'cause I don't wanna be a therapy. I wanna be free, so ooh, gotta go and grab a spoon now. Ooh, make a life for myself. Ooh, I don't know what I'ma do now. Ooh, but I don't need your help. Get out of my way, my way. I'm moving on up. Don't make me stay, to stay. I'm done being stuck. Get out of my way, my way. I'm moving on up. The last thing I will ever do for you is wish you the best of luck. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, I know, you know, it's time you let me go. Don't call, don't follow, 'cause I'll do fine on my own. I know, you know, it's time I'll let you go. Don't call, don't follow, 'cause I'll be gone. Get out of my way, my way. I'm moving on up. Don't make me stay, to stay. I'm done being stuck. Get out of my way, my way. I'm moving on up. The last thing I will ever do for you is wish you the best of luck. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Get out of my way, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Get out of my way.
Question: did you get a chance to meet with the royal family? And if not, how was it like having them there in the building?
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph?
The Prince and Princess of Wales.
Oh, no, I did not. I'm only familiar with one royal family. I don't know too much about that one.
Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Just put a one in the chat before we start, please. Wow, what an eventful 72 hours it's been, huh? I laugh so that I do not cry. I laugh so that I do not cry because it's going to be an emotional roller coaster, folks. It really is going to be an emotional roller coaster. Okay, you can hear me. Fantastic. Can I also just say to whoever has to eventually take over this podcast from me in a good couple years, where I'm just like, it's been wonderful, but I want to pass on the baton. You're going to have a lot of work to do, because today I was meant to start this podcast at 5. I think there were almost 180 images that I had to sort through to prepare the podcast today, and I don't even think like it's fully ready in the way that I wanted it to be. But we're gonna roll with it. Okay, before I start, I have a request of you. Many of you donate to the channel, and you are incredibly generous in your donations. But I would please ask you for the rest of the month, if at all, that you do want to give a super chat, a super sticker, Cash App, PayPal, wherever, that you please consider, instead of giving it to me, please give it to my judo club. FYI, they don't actually know at the moment that I'm doing this, so I kind of want it to be a surprise. And I've been at the club now for, I think, since September. I started. I did my induction, and in only a few months, I've gone up to yellow. I love the club. I'm probably going to be there for a very long time. And there are people at this club that have been there for literally 1, 2, 3 decades. It's a very diverse club. It's a very welcoming club, and I want to do my part to help to contribute anything I can. So for the rest of the month, please, I'm not asking for any extra donations or anything that you wouldn't have already given to me if you were going to give to me. But please direct any donate, and I'm going to change all my links. Direct any donations to them. Your money will go towards sending students to competitions, and also their top student. He fights for Cyprus. He doesn't fight for Britain. For any of the American squaddies who are like, oh my god, does he fight for the UK? No, he fights for Cyprus. But yeah, it would just mean a lot to me. And also, if you do donate, please put from the Sussex squad or from, Duchess fans or something, just so we know that it was, just so I know that it was you. And I think it will be nice to show people who aren't part of the squad, like, how generous and lovely that we can be. But please don't give anything to me. Please give to my judo club. It would mean the absolute world to me if I could help them pull their money pot, be able to send students to competitions. All right. So thank you so much for that. And I'll make sure to just pin that and put that everywhere for the rest of the month. Okay. And don't forget to say, if you do donate, don't forget to say Sussex squad or Duchess fans or whatever with your little message. All right. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, a lot to talk about today. Second trailer. Yeah, we're gonna get to that, but let's get to the other news first, because I've got so much to say, but it's like finding the words. Oh, also, yeah, over the weekend I went to Blackpool. Because my mum got me a flight lesson, and I had to go all the way up to Blackpool to do the flight lesson. It was like an 8-hour coach there. I booked this B&B in this cat house. There were like 11 cats. 11 cats, y'all. And I always said, like, I always wanted like a house full of cats. But after this experience, I'm like, oh, child, no. These cats were everywhere. They were in the bathroom. They were on my bed. I was washing the dishes. There were cats. You were like walking over, trying not to like step on them. It was very cute. And it was, I don't know if you're ever in Blackpool, Cavendish Cat House, go and stay there. It was a very, very nice experience, I have to say. But it made me realize that I do not want that many cats. And yeah, I actually got to do like a 30-minute flight. It was amazing. It was like a little plane. But yes, Church Nelly, I'm a cat lady like you. I do like cats. I like dogs also, but I like cats. But 11 cats is something that I never want to have. Yeah, it was really nice. But you could feel all of the G-forces, like everything, and the altitude, especially being in a small plane. But if that's an experience that you've ever wanted to try, do give it a go. It's like a dual controls. So the pilot obviously has like master control, and he can switch off your control. It was a really interesting experience. So that's why I didn't do a podcast the other day. Right, okay, we'll start with the nicer news. Now that we've gotten through all of that, we'll start with the nicer news. So yes, Mandana has now stepped down. Thank you, Lorna Williams, for being Silver Squaddy for 4 months. That's just popped up on my phone. Mandana has stepped down. She joined Archewell pretty much from the beginning, to, I guess, give Harry and Meghan the confidence and help them set up and everything. And she runs her own organization. She is a boss babe herself. So I think it was a great choice for them. And they've done nothing but, I think, make great choices from the very beginning. So in the statement released by Harry and Meghan, they said, Miss Diani has been an integral part of Archewell, and we are grateful for her passion, commitment, and leadership. Miss Diani was brought on during the parental leave to move the company and its projects forward. She has continued to shape its vision and future successfully. Her transition was mutually planned with intent for the Duke and Duchess to now take full lead of their company. There will be no replacement for this position, and Miss Diani is fully supportive of the Duke and Duchess in their new leadership roles, and they remain friends. Fantastic. I love that they included the "they remain friends" because we know how the UK tabloids would have spun this situation. And that's great. Harry and Meghan growing their wings and taking full charge of their organization. And, Meghan ran her own business before. She did all her own dealings before. So this is just a graduation. I feel like with or without marrying into the royal family, I see, given all of the work that Meghan did before she joined the royal family, that she would have started her own organization. She already had the TIG, but it probably would have grown. I'm sure that we would have had like a TIG podcast or something like that. And Harry as well, all the work that he's done with Invictus. So I have no doubt that they'll be able to take the wheel and carry on. And they may not be replacing Mandana, but I'm sure that there are other executives and people that they'll put into roles as Archewell expands. We know that they have offices now. Fantastic. Over at Scottish Little Soldiers, Harry released a Christmas message for Scottish Little Soldiers the other day, and some of the kids that saw the message made little videos talking about how grateful they were for it and how it made them happy. So I'm not going to play the video, but this is just a screenshot of one of the young little lads that was just saying thank you. So very sweet just to see the impact, the positive impact that Harry is having for these little ones. Also, over on Twitter, it is actually Archewell Appreciation Week. Apologies, I couldn't find the squaddy who originally started this. If you know their handle, please do put it in the chat. But this was started by someone or a group of people on Twitter, just appreciating and highlighting all of the amazing work that Archewell has done so far, and it's a long list. I mean, this right here, this is just the list of the conversations, speeches, panels, partnerships, and projects that Harry and Meghan have done so far. But it's not the full list of organizations that are linked to Archewell. There's actually a whole nother list. I just couldn't find it to put it up for you. And this is only in what 3 years? Incredible. They absolutely deserve the award that they're getting from the Kennedys. That is tomorrow. They absolutely deserve it. And thank you to the squaddies that started this Archewell Appreciation Week initiative to highlight that work on social media. Right, I'll take your comments before we continue. And for anyone who's just joining and you weren't at the beginning, I'm please asking that if you are going to donate to me this month, please don't donate to me. Please donate to my judo club so that they can send students to competitions and do things for the club. Right. I'll get for your comments before we continue. Oh, also, thank you so much to the moderators, because since the trailer dropped, I have seen an influx in trolls on the channel. And we're going to talk about the trolls regarding the trailer in a minute, because I've seen some things that just blew my mind. But we'll get to that. Yes, Jessica, it's going to be emotional, very, very emotional. Lottie, I think Meghan is pregnant in that photo. Do you know what? I'm actually wondering now, because if they were filming this pretty much from the time they left, it's very likely that they had started filming it before she had the miscarriage. And then we get to see what happened, you know, during the time that she had the miscarriage, and the way that the press continued to hound and bully her. I think that we will get details about that. Galway Girl, can you imagine William and Harry having Charles left as their primary parent after having the most incredible empathetic mother? That is beyond heartbreaking. And I doubt, even given that there is such coldness in this family, that Charles was really a parent. I think they were probably mostly looked after by nannies and had to really fend for themselves in this institution. Just this whole institution is just so cold and unhealthy for everybody in it. It is literally just a cult. It's like everybody wants position and will do anything to get that position, but they just ruin each other in themselves. It's just, oi, we need like a psychologist to come in and examine this. Please. Lottie, that's very thoughtful. Yeah, it's the season of giving and I want to give back to my club. And please don't forget, if you are going to donate to my club, just make sure you put Sussex Squad or Duchess fans, so I know it was you. I think the full amount that they need to send people to competitions and their best Sudoku is like £5,800 or something for like the whole year. Yes, Church Nelly. Lady. Mackenzie, my asthma. What? Is that in regards to doing the flying? Rahini, I'm slightly ashamed to say, but the only animals I like are seasoned and ready to cook. Oh, not an animal lover at all. Okay, so you like chicken on your plate, steak on your plate. I don't like it to be alive and breathing. Okay. Maybe you should get a goldfish, Rahini. Get your goldfish. Oh, hilarious. Marissa, you're so adventurous. Well, life is for living. I mean, it's not like I get on a plane every single day. I think that's probably the wildest thing I have done in 3 years. Mind you, it's not cheap either. So, and it was a gift. Otherwise, I generally like my feet on the ground, and I'm mostly an introvert, actually. All right, just getting through your comments before we go into the next part, folks. Let's see. Welcome to the chat if you're just joining. Mad World, I agree. He was more of an absentee parent. Well, the Queen was barely a mother to him. All right, I think I've gotten through most of your comments, so we'll move on now. Right, so this was in the UK papers today. They have to find something, and apparently one of the stock footage of the paparazzi in the Netflix trailer, the first one that was released, they're saying that it was from another event. Even if it was, it's not like there isn't plenty of footage of Meghan being chased around by paparazzi. It's just like they had to find one little thing. Truly outrageous. And then there was also this by a writer in, I think this was either the Express or the Sun, and he wrote, and this just sums up the mentality of the tabloid writers that we're dealing with, and I think also the people that read the tabloids. So he says, I confess, I can't not watch the Sussex saga. Oh, here we go again with Harry and Meghan. Am I the only one who really doesn't care? I used to have a lot of sympathy for them, and I used to think they were being bullied. I still think they're an easy target, so I'm not actually going to say very much about them, except that I will probably watch the documentary on Netflix just to see how they've angled it. But I just don't care about the Sussex's story. There are so many more important things to talk about. Why can't we just leave them alone? Which is exactly what I'm going to do now. So I don't care about them, but I'm going to watch it. Why can't we just leave them alone? And I don't care about the story, but I'm going to watch it. Like the whiplash that these people must suffer. And all I have to say to people like this is if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. Nobody is forcing you. Nobody's forcing you to watch a documentary. Nobody's forcing you to listen to the Spotify. Nobody's forcing you to watch Invictus. I can absolutely bet that there are people like this who are like, I don't care what Harry's doing with Invictus, but I'm going to buy a ticket and fly all the way to Dusseldorf and watch it front row. Having said all that, even if you don't care about Harry and Meghan, you should absolutely care about what the press have done to Meghan, because that speaks for a much bigger problem that we have in this country with the tabloid press. What has been done to Meghan is the ultimate example of how and why the tabloid press in this country is cancer. It is a cancer on this country. The tabloid press needs to be abolished. If it's not abolished, if it's not reformed, I don't know if you can reform it. I think it's just better to abolish it. Then this country will never know its full potential. The way in which they shape people's minds, the way in which they treat people, building them up to knock them down, the lies, the bullying. I think it was Anne Boleyn on Twitter today saying, I'd like to take a moment for Caroline Flack today for what was done to her. But it's not just Caroline Flack. It's not just Meghan. It's Amy Winehouse. It's Paul Gascoigne. It's anyone and everyone who has ever been successful, had a moment of weakness, and is brought down. Or you could be, in Meghan's case, the most drama-free, not a single mark on your record person your entire life, and they just make up lies about you. If they can't knock you down for one or two little weaknesses, they just make up lies about you. And we've seen this with Meghan. They paid off Simon Rex, or they tried to pay off Simon Rex almost £70,000. He said no, thank goodness he had morals. They've tried to pay off psychologists to say, oh, Meghan is a narcissist, but thank goodness nobody wants to, risk losing their practicing license. I think there were two ladies on Twitter who tweeted about that they were paid to say that Meghan is a this, that, and the third. They were both qualified psychologists, and there's a so-called body language expert. I mean, it's just never ending. But yeah, this was the tabloid papers today. But that's the mindset of these people. Also, an update on this Ngozi Fulani story. So, it turns out that she's actually met Charles before. And here she is, banging a drum, right next to Charles, who's also banging a drum and very happy looking, mind you. This is back in 1997 at a Prince's Trust event. The Prince's Trust does support organizations like the one Ngozi runs. Organizations doing things for the community, and also low-income people starting businesses and all that type of stuff. So it's not too much of a surprise that she may have, because of the organization that she's linked to, that she would have been invited to the palace. But it's shocking that this has not even come out until, I hadn't seen this until like today. And Charles has been incredibly quiet about this whole saga. Now, he may not remember meeting her, but she equally, in her, going around talking to the press, she never mentioned this either. And I find it interesting that she didn't. I don't know why she didn't, because it then means that, so she's been to the palace before in her African print, nobody questioned her. She met Charles. So what excuse now then does Suzanne Hussey have? Because this woman has been to the palace before. And she wasn't questioned about where she was from before. So I was shocked to see this. um, she has now apparently been invited back to the palace to have talks and tea with Charles and Camilla. I think that perhaps the Charles has just stayed quiet and stayed in the background is because he also is trying to avoid too much attention being given to his own scandals. The cash money in bags, his tantrums days into his kingship. And I think he would probably love for any negativity to be focused on the other royals, whether it's Earthflop. And that's another interesting thing. I mean, Charles hails himself as an environmentalist. His son is launching this huge environmental initiative, and I haven't really heard Charles publicly and proudly saying anything about his son's initiative. So Charles has pretty much just gone mute. He's allowing everybody else to take a beating. And then he will emerge just in time for his coronation, where everybody would have been focusing on everybody and everything else, except for his own misdemeanors. All right. I'll just take your comments. Also, obviously, usually we would have call-in day on Friday, but because of the documentary, I'm moving it up to Thursday. So please get all of your rants and raves ready for Thursday. Get up first thing in the morning and watch that documentary. Because we will be talking about it on Thursday. Yes, Mackenzie, I can't wait for it either. Shut everybody up. Rahini, they were pissing about stock footage they used in TV shows. They don't even know how the footage is used yet. Exactly. I do think that one of the things that's going to be discussed in this documentary is the culture of paparazzi and tabloid. I do think as a whole, I don't think it's just going to be just about Harry and Meghan. I think it's going to be about the tabloid culture as a whole. And there's a lot to talk about. I really recommend, actually, between now and the documentary, to quench your thirst, there is another documentary called Star Suckers by Chris Atkins. You can actually find it on YouTube. Go and watch it. And it's about fame and our relationship with fame and celebrities, but tabloid culture and British tabloid culture does actually take center point during this documentary. And Piss Moron is also featured in this documentary. Not in a positive light. They show him for what he is, but in the lead up to Harry and Meghan's documentary, I think this is a brilliant thing to watch before the day comes. Joyce, do they think they're going to stop people from watching the docu-series? This docu-series is going global. They have put the trailer on regular cable to advertise. Wow. I mean, it's on every news channel in the UK. I saw it on Sky, I saw it on ITV, I saw it on BBC. All over the place. I mean, they're just giving it free PR. And the royal rodents and tabloid writers, they are truly, truly panicking. Right. On to the other royals. Let's give the other ones some attention, shall we? Now, I have not read this. This is the first time that I am reading this. I didn't have the time to. But apparently, Edwina and Esther were very rude at an event that they went to. I think they went to the Royal Variety Show or something like that. But let me just find it in my notes because it's not too clear on the screen what was said. Give me a moment. Because I haven't read it yet, but when it came up on my screen, it said that the encounter was written about in quite great detail. So I thought it was worth reading. If I can find it, y'all. Goodness me. Give me a second, folks. While I'm looking for this, okay. Do you know what? Do you know what we're gonna do? We are going to. All right, we're gonna come back to this later because for some reason I can't find it, and I don't want to waste. I don't want to waste time on an insignificant story. Okay, we'll come back to that one. Yeah. Also on Lady Susan Hussey, they pulled out the "I have a black friend" card, and apparently she worships at a South London church that has a 90% congregation, black congregation. And so what? Because somebody is around people of color, it means that they can't, sometimes still step out of line? Of course not. And a very watchful squaddy spotted this. There she is, right behind Harry and Meghan at their last event. Honey, you're not going to tell me that somebody did not put that lady behind them on purpose. And in Toilet Bowles' book, she's actually quoted as saying that the marriage between Harry and Meghan would end in tears. And there she is, sitting right behind Harry and Meghan at the last event. Eavesdropping, I'm sure. I have no doubt whatsoever that she was a palace source and that the palace put her up to spying on Harry and Meghan because she was put forward as the person that was meant to introduce Meghan into the royal fold. She was also put forward to help introduce Diana into the royal fold, and Diana apparently hated her too. So we're getting to learn about who some of these so-called royal sources were. I'll go to your comments before we continue. Here's a little bit of science for you. You can learn about the different groups of reptiles and insects. We like to educate here at Duchess of Success. Donation questions. I want to donate more to the organization and limit you to £5. Okay, so I think it shouldn't limit. Hang on a second. No. So what you have to do is, on the Buy Me a Coffee page, you can put how many coffees you want to buy. So £5 equals 1 coffee. So you should see buy Samson Judo a coffee, and then you can buy 1 coffee, 3 coffee, 5 coffees, or put the amount of coffees that you want to buy. Or if you go to this is their wish list. And then you can donate to one of the wish list items instead. So you can donate like a higher amount, but it's literally just, you'll see how £5 equals 1 coffee. So you just have to change the amount of coffees that you want to donate to them. I'll maybe do like a more detailed like demonstration tomorrow. I hope that made sense. Somebody help our dear Maggie in the chat box, please. Thank you for that, Maggie. And yes, if you're just joining and you weren't here at the beginning, I'm please asking everyone to donate, not super chats and things like that. Please don't donate to me. Please donate to my judo club this month. Okay. Thank you so much. Sorry if that didn't make sense, Maggie. I'll explain in better detail tomorrow. Mahini, I don't care if Ngozi slept rough with William. The hussy had no right to harass her. Exactly. It was completely and utterly unnecessary. Lorna, this is nothing new. Chucky has receipts of him partying it up with people of color. I have seen pictures of him dancing with a woman of color in his youth. Oh yeah, he was on the prop stuff, using people of color as props a long time ago. He's been playing the long game, y'all. He knew that he was going to be king. He's been playing the long game. Peso, has anyone seen the I love it comments on the Netflix trailer? Yes, I was going to mention this later. Do I even have the slides? Mm. Okay, I actually don't think I prepared that slide properly. Basically, what P Soul is referring to, if you go to the Netflix trailer, in the comment section, there are hundreds, and they appeared within minutes, mind you, within the hour of the trailer going up, saying, I love it when, and then it says something nasty about Harry or Meghan. You're not going to tell me that they're not bots. There's hundreds of comments like that. So please, 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 I posted it in the community tab. Go and drop at least 1 or 2 nice comments, because they have definitely bought out the YouTube bots in full force. And also I think that even with the dislike button, like you can't see the dislikes, but there's there's a Chrome plugin that you can put on your computer, and I think I saw the dislikes on the last trailer, and it was over 200,000 dislikes. There's no way that that was organic. But I think both with the dislikes and with the comments on the trailer, there's some bot activity going on. Ginger, I have Netflix on my phone, so I'll be watching on my way to work. Yes. Oh gosh, I'll probably get up at the stroke of midnight to watch. And we're only getting the first 3 episodes this week. And Patience, she said, I have come to the conclusion that the firm is racist. In fact, what happened with Ngozi was a slip up. In fact, they wish this incident would have been swept under the carpet. Yes. Yes. Oh, you lot are asking about the documentary. Yes, it's Starsuckers by Chris Atkins. Yeah, if you're thirsty for something to watch that links to Harry and Meghan's documentary, watch this. It is a very good documentary, and it was made years ago, but somehow, and this is how you know a documentary is well made, I feel like it speaks even more to what's going on in the present time than when it was actually made. So go check it out. Sister and Netflix Worldwide are tweeting about the documentary. Yes, in yesterday's podcast, sorry, the day before's, I showed you all of the countries. And I think in total, at the time, it was something like 20 million views across social media. So they're not bigging themselves up. Over bigging themselves up when they say this is a global event. It will be a global event. Right, let's get through your comments before we continue. Gosh, there's almost 1,000 of you in the chat. Thumbs up, please. Maggie, you read it was 90% white and 10% black at that church. Oh, gosh. I mean, what does it really matter who you surround yourself with on a daily basis? When you meet someone who looks different from you, just don't be rude. It's just having basic respect for everyone who you encounter. Oh, and the way that she was sitting behind Harry and Meghan and listening there, does it look like she's deaf to you? Doesn't look like she's deaf to me. A light side. It was the same with IMDb archetypes. They put so much energy into posting negative comments. Wow. Wow. I didn't even know that you could rate podcasts on IMDb. I haven't been on that website for years. And these people actually made the effort to go and put troll comments. Horrible. Mary, it's coming out 8 a.m. in the UK. Oh, where did you get those details, hun? Please do confirm. All right, let's get through the other stuff so we can get to the documentary. So Earthshot was indeed a flop. Apparently, BBC viewers were switching off minutes into the show. And it's now come out that Kate burned through 50K worth of clothes for the tour. Mind you, they were making a big deal out of the fact that she wore a recycled dress for the event. and everybody was being sustainable by flying across the Atlantic Ocean, but wearing recycled clothes. So we're definitely being sustainable. Um, Listen, I think it's been well established by now that this whole event was one big vanity show, because there's no way that you can host an event that's meant to highlight the work of environmentalists and then you fly out celebrities, but you don't fly out the winners. And it's such a shame, because I don't know a single one of these people or what their project is. I was not inspired to watch Earthshot. I actually did watch the last Earthshot, mind you, but only because there was this one African artist who was performing, and I just wanted to watch her. But I don't remember any of the winners, what they've been doing so far, what they're doing now, and all of these people who I'm sure are amazing and doing amazing things. I don't feel inspired to find out what they're doing. And all of the people who are saying how awful it is, how how the Netflix documentary trailer has distracted from Earthshot, have they actually gone and looked into what the Earthshot prize winners are doing? Because it's like I said at the beginning of the show, nobody is forcing you to pay attention to what Harry and Meghan are doing. So you have a choice. And you had a choice to pay attention to the work of these winners, but you decided to pay attention to Harry and Meghan. And whose fault is that? Doesn't that just say that William and Kate don't inspire people to engage with them? It's not Harry and Meghan's fault that they are just more popular. And they're more popular because they're authentic. I could tell you a lot of the organizations and people that are linked to Harry and Meghan. Sophia Noble, who won the prize for the NAACP awards, and she's working on online algorithms and how they create these how they create a nasty environment, particularly for people of color, and how the algorithm reinforces hate. So I can tell you, the organizations Harry and Meghan are working with, who they're working with, what they're doing, what their initiatives are. But that is lacking with William and Kate. And whether or not they can turn that around or do something about it, well, I don't know, because even the Earthshot itself is not an original idea. The idea is from the Goldman Prize winner in 2008. And he said, in the spirit of JFK's moonshot, let's not destroy what keeps us alive. I call for an Earthshot to save our planet in the next decade. A small step for the global community, a giant leap for our planet. #climate action. So the whole concept, without acknowledging the initial creators, just to turn it into a poor PR exercise. No wonder their energy is focused on pleasing the UK tabloids. They can't survive if journalists really turn the lights on their poor actions. So Earthshot itself is a stolen idea. Not one single original bone in these people's bodies. Right, I'm going to go to your comments before we continue. Yes, Wendy. Hussey is leaning forward to eavesdrop. She's leaning forward to eavesdrop. Oh, thank you so much for those of you that have donated. I can see, I think, let me see. 2 or wait, hang on a sec. Yes, I can see 2. Oh, thank you so much, Black Queen. And there was someone else as well. Make sure that you put I'm donating on behalf of the Sussex Squad or Duchess of Success. I think it's so nice to show people who are not part of our community what we're made of, what we can do. So thank you so much, Black Queen, and anybody else. For those of you, again, sorry, I'm going to keep reminding you, if you were going to donate to me at all, please don't donate to me, donate to the Judo Club. And the link is pinned. Let's have a look. Legs, who is paying for the security here? I remember a time when people made a row about it. Also, it wasn't a state visit, so the US shouldn't have to pay for vanity projects. Well, apparently they were shutting roads, and that it has actually cost Boston some money, and naturally it would have cost the UK taxpayer money, 50K for Kate's clothes, at least. So, in the end, and listen, I am not against these type of things that bring awareness. I'm really not. I have no issue at all with William I may have an issue with William and Kate as people, but I have no issue at all with them taking positive initiatives. Of course, I have no issue with that. But when you look at everything, when you look at the fact that it's a stolen idea, when you look at the fact that they didn't bring the actual winners to the event, they bought just the celebrities for them to rub shoulders with. When you look at the fact that it seems like they've just made it about themselves, that's the issue I have. The day they actually do something useful, I will congratulate them. I still won't like them, but I give credit where credit is due. And so far, they haven't done anything that deserves any credit. Wilson, godmother to William, was introduced to Diana and Meghan into the royal household, was supposed to be the best teacher. Wonder what she has taught William and her position of authority in the royal family. Exactly. I mean, if she's making comments like that to complete strangers, you have to wonder what she's taught William. And you also have to wonder what William's godfather taught him. Because we talked about his godfather. I mean, you think the godmother is bad? For those of you that missed it, go look up William's godfather and his history. I'm not going to repeat it here again today. I don't want to trigger anyone. You can go look it up. William's godfather. Go look it up. Sister Ann, Earthshot costs the city of Boston millions. Yeah, 5K worth of new clothes in 3 days. But they made a big deal out of that one dress that she rented. Jesus. I mean, they could have just zoomed it, right? Valerie. Yes, Valerie. I also heard that the winners haven't received their prize money, but I've seen no real confirmation from the actual winners. So if you have any links or any articles that would verify that, please do let me know. But I haven't seen that verified, so I don't want to state that here as fact. But I have heard that, Valerie. Yes. Yeah, Marcia. How can you have an award show and not invite the winners? Can you imagine hosting the Oscars and not inviting the winners? What is that? That is a vanity project that you wanted to make about yourself. All right. Right, on to the next thing. Oh, and yes, before we get on to the Netflix trailer, I saw this that popped up. So apparently Anne went to New York in October. Did anybody know about this? I didn't. And then there was the Duke of Gloucester. He had 19 appointments and nobody knew about that. In November, Edward visited Washington. Did Edward visit Washington? I'm gonna have to double check if this is even accurate, but if this is true. Oh, and Sophie's going to Washington DC in December as well. I think eventually we're gonna have to ask what value these royal tours have, because clearly they're not adding any value to anyone, not to the UK and not to the hosting countries. If we're going to have tours like this, I would say that they could have the royals engage in very minor soft diplomacy, soft trade deals, things like that, things that would actually be useful. Or highlighting charities, but in a way that actually promotes the people involved in what they're doing. Because like I said, I don't know anything about the Earthshot winners. I don't even know what their names are, and that's actually really sad. I'm actually very sad for these people because they obviously work very hard, and they've just been let down. But then I would also say that this should be a lesson to anyone going forward. Aligning yourselves with the royals doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get promoted well in any way. Oh, thank you so much for your donations. I can see them coming through. You are so wonderful. I appreciate it so much. And you know what, something guys, I'm not even going to be, because I'm going to be traveling quite a lot. I'm not even going to be at the club much next year to benefit from any of this. This is for my former, for my fellow judokus who are at the club, who I love, and they deserve this, and so do the people that run the club. So I'm so very much appreciative of you. Right, let's get through your comments before we get on to talking about the actual trailer. It's it's getting a bit late, but if anybody does want to talk, put a 1 in the chat, and I will take 3 people. If anybody does want to talk, okay? Angela, Anne was fundraising in New York. We saw her on the Staten Island ferry. Oh, really? Okay. Well, that's good. Did they raise a good amount of money? Sarah, I read that the winners will receive their money between 2022 and 2025. Okay, then. That's fair enough. Maggie, Boston and America should ask for their money back. Rahini, you put a 1 in the chat, and you put okay. Just give me a sec. I will. I'll post a link so you can come up. Okay. But save your real heat. Save your real heat for Thursday. Oops, Daisy. Okay, there's the link. You can come up. All right. Netflix trailer. Let's go. So we see and hear quite a few things. I think one of the most jaw-dropping is Harry saying, there are leaks and briefing, and there is a hierarchy in the family. Now, one thing with trailers is they can really hype something up, and then you don't get much details when you actually watch it. But the fact that he would say that may allude to the fact that they could talk about, the other family members. And you actually see a shot of the family members on the balcony when Harry says that, as he's saying that. You also see Meghan there, very heavily pregnant. That could be her. That's probably her pregnant with Lily. I doubt it was the baby when she had the miscarriage, because I don't think she was that far along. You also see Meghan in the car. That looks like New York in the background. So that could have been when they went for their trip to New York. And then you also see in one section Jenny Afia, who's Meghan's lawyer, who says there was a war against Meghan. There was a war to suit other people's agendas. The fact that Meghan's lawyer is in the documentary, I don't know about you, but that says to me that there's receipts. That says to me that there's definitely receipts. And you also see Meghan looking very solemnly at the camera when Jenny Afia's voice says that. You also see several shots of paparazzi, of Diana being chased, and of Harry speaking about the pain and suffering of women within this institution. And a lot of people, I think, will hear that and go, well, these are very privileged people. But at the end of the day, this is an institution that we pay for and that we allowed to continue. So people can sit here and be snarky about it in that way, but you held this institution as the absolute epitome of class and grace and upper class society and what everybody should aspire to. But you sit here generation after generation and you see women being abused. So are people proud of that? Is this what we want to present to the world? An institution that abuses women, an institution that sweeps abuse under the rug? At what point, as a country, do we not step back and say, are we not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing. And at this point, it's not only just embarrassing, but it's dangerous. I mean, it's been dangerous. It was dangerous during the Diana era. It's even more dangerous, I feel, now with Meghan. You also see Christopher Boozy. Boozy, of course, worked tirelessly on reports for Twitter trolls, and also YouTube trolls. I do think both the YouTube and the Twitter trolls will be mentioned in this documentary. The likes of Yankee Wally, Taz, and others. I do think that they will be mentioned. There was some suggestion. I don't have evidence for this, and I'm not saying that I do or stating this as fact, but there was some suggestion that some of these YouTube and Twitter trolls did have links to the palace or were being paid by the palace. So I wonder if we'll see that. And yes, so the trailer, volume 1, December 8th, so that's probably 3 episodes, and then volume 2, December 15th, another 3 episodes, because there's 6 episodes in total. So Rahini, I will let you speak, but when your device is connected, because it's saying device not connected, I will. Oh, thank you. I can see that you fixed it. And another interesting part of the trailer was Piers Moron his voice was used, and specifically what the clip of his voice that they chose was him basically calling Meghan a rock star, and obviously showing different pieces of footage of her getting all the attention and the paparazzi. Now he's gone on social today and gone off. And I think that clip where he calls Meghan a rock star, I think this was before he realized that he was not going to get anywhere close to Meghan or Harry. It's probably that clip where he calls Meghan a rock star from the same documentary or from around the same time when he said this.
Meghan's marrying into a family which has, to put it mildly, a dodgy track record on race. It's not Meghan Markle's problem, it's their problem.
Oh, sorry, what was that, Piers?
Meghan's marrying into a family which has, to put it mildly, a dodgy track record on race. It's not Meghan Markle's problem, it's their problem.
One more time for the royalists in the back.
Meghan's marrying into a family which has, to put it mildly, a dodgy track record on race. It's not Meghan Markle's problem, it's their problem. And
today, as I was going through social, I was seeing squaddies who have 5-6 years worth of receipts. So if we have the receipts, you know that Meghan's lawyers and everyone who's involved in this docu-series also has the receipts of the likes of Dan Wooten basically saying that the leaks were coming from inside the house. The calls were coming from inside the house. The likes of Camilla Tominey saying that she was being briefed. So we have the receipts. That means the documentary series people must also have the receipts. Ultimately, guys and dolls, and for anyone, maybe listening to this who isn't on the fence, or maybe you don't consider yourself a squaddies and you're like, well, what's the big deal? The big deal here is that Fleet Street, the British tabloid press, they're an institution that needs to be addressed. And they keep getting away with the worst and not being held accountable. And perhaps, maybe, just maybe, this is the beginning of them being held accountable. All right. I think I've said enough. Rahini, would you like to speak?
Hi, Squaddies. How y'all doing? I'm at work, so I have to behave myself. You
Okay.
can hear me?
I can hear you.
I am loving that Netflix obviously has been listening to us as Squaddies and decided to spread it out so that they could be pooping bricks for weeks. I am loving it. I am loving it. I'm loving it.
Mhm.
I'm loving it quite a bit. So I'm so excited about it. And they're doing the same thing that they did the last time, speculating on something you know nothing about. Sit down and
Yes.
wait. But the thing is, they have no access. They have zero
Mhm.
access. And because of that, they can't plan ahead. They can't plan
Mhm.
ahead. But I did, when it comes, I wanted to say something on William and Kate. It's like,
Oh,
I think I
sorry,
want to
sorry,
work for them.
Rini.
Mhm.
Sorry to interrupt you just for a second. Yes, to confirm, and that this actually has been confirmed, that no one in the press even the American press is getting a preview watch of the show. No one's getting a preview watch. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Okay, at this point, I think I want to apply for a job to be their PR, Will and Kate, because
Mhm.
they're growing up so bad. This is like first year public relations class. This is a short
Mhm.
course of how not to look stupid. No, right now they have Harry and Meghan as a buffer. But this
Mhm.
is not going to look good on their part. It's not going to look good. But I am very excited about it. And I
Mhm.
might just take the day and sit down. But I was thinking, I think you could stream it, but as like a react video. Like you play a little part and then stop it and then talk about it. I think that way you could stream it. And it wouldn't break copyright rules. I was thinking that.
Mm. Do you know what? I think what I might do is I'll take screenshots and we'll just go through each section bit by bit because also if I was going to do that, that is a good idea. That is a good idea. But if I was going to do that, I'd have to I don't even know how to download the episodes. Like, how would I get the episodes off of Netflix? I don't know how people do that. Do you have an idea? Mahini? Okay, maybe
So
because
you
you.
can't just stream it from. I don't know how to use stream. I really don't. I don't
All
know,
right, so
but
no,
it's a good idea.
I'll look into it. It's a good idea. I'll consider it.
Yeah. So that's
All
all I
right.
wanted to say.
All right. Thank you so much as always, Rahini. Lauren, hey.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you feeling a bit better today?
It's like, hold on, I literally have to cough as you said that. Sorry, 1 second.
Oh no.
Okay,
Ginger
okay.
ginger and lemon, hun.
Yeah. So it's at that tail end where it sounds terrible, but I don't feel terrible. So it's coming and going. Uh, oh my gosh. Anyway,
It'll be gone
how are
soon. It'll be
you?
gone soon. I'm good. How are you feeling about this trailer?
Listen, I'm when I saw that the trailer dropped, I literally bounced. Like I physically all of me both tightened and loosened at the same time. Luckily everything stayed inside. It was really I there were things that I loved about it cinematically that it was doing to tell a message that went beyond just what was on screen. And I talked a lot about it a little in the video I posted, the reaction to it. But what I loved so much was the way that the teaser we got reveals from the teaser. So the way in which they'd show like that black and white photo of Megan when her hair was in a bun and she was leaning forward and we couldn't see her expression. And then in this trailer, they actually exposed what was happening. We got to see the moment, all those little moments of revelation that happened in this trailer just from the teaser make me think
Mm,
that proportionately we're going to get a whole lot more eye-opening in these episodes. And I think there's something very strategic to doing the three at a time. I imagine the first three are going to posit certain they're going to present certain things about the way in which um, the institution behaves, like when Harry mentioned about them planting stories and talking
yes.
about people. But I also think that most of what we saw probably came from the first half of the releases, volume 1. And I imagine they're letting a little time go so that the tabloids can do all of their reacting. And then similar to when Meghan went to the Clack school and was greeted by that young gentleman who was talking about feminism, and they wanted to say, "Oh, he kissed her," and all that stuff, and they let everyone go on, and then they dropped the video to show they were nowhere near each other for him to kiss her. I think a similar idea is happening here, which is why we're getting volume 1 and volume 2. Yes, it could also be technical as far as, behind the scenes, we need more time to edit stuff, but I honestly don't think that. I think it's because they want to make their points and then they want to see that counter reaction, the lies, the, attempts to spin, and so it makes me think that what we're gonna get on it's the 15th, right? Not the 16th.
Yeah, 8th and
Yeah,
15th.
15th. Okay, so it makes me think that what we're gonna get on the 15th is going to just slam a lot of those things down and really drive the point home, which is kind of a strategic thing. And given again that Harry was in the military, was having, strategy training, he's seen the way this cycle with the palace and the media works. And then
Mhm.
on top of that, they just have really great PR and good editing over at Netflix. I really think that there is going to be, it's like, let me draw out the enemy so that I can know all of their numbers and attack them in kind. But I actually don't think
Yes.
that it's right. I don't think that it's going to be vicious. I think it's going to be incisive. I think we're going to get
Yeah.
the information and things get really, really clarified. And I'm excited, Anne. Like I'm like, it's like I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, they need to help, like, just help me recover from this cold." Like, they're releasing this now, and I'm like, "I need sleep, I need to eat." Like, I don't I'm not complaining, but oh my gosh, if they did this next week, I'd have so much more energy. But, like, I'm happy to be putting this on, H&M. I think they're really showing how to handle being a public figure. And I think this is a lesson for many people in the public eye, how to hold your head
Yes.
high, how to operate, and not just the haters, but not let the media control you.
Mm,
And it's all about going where you are free and speaking your truth in spite of the hate. So, I'm
100%.
over the moon, and
And, I was, thank you for that, Lauren. I was talking to another squaddy earlier today, and I said, "You know something? I feel like, there are some people, especially the tabloid readers here in the UK, that we're just gonna
Mhm.
never win over. And do you know what? That's okay. Because I
Mhm.
feel like outside of the UK, most people kind of get it.
Mhm.
There's the whole Commonwealth, right? And so if there are just some people that never get it, that will forever hate Meghan, that will forever see Harry and Meghan as the enemy when literally, your the United Kingdom government right now is just like making the country crumble,
Yeah.
and you're taking the bait and just focusing on these two people who really just want to live their lives in peace,
Mhm.
then we just kind of have to leave them to it. That one day they will learn their lesson.
Yeah. Or they won't, and that's fine because they'll be
Mm.
left behind, you know? You
Yeah.
can't wait for your haters to change. There are people who, I mean, I think I said this with you and Light before. It's like the people on the fence may be swayed, but the people who've decided to hate you, it's such an illogical position to just say, I choose to feel this way regardless of what, other information comes to light. Um,
Mm.
those people can't be helped. I mean, they've literally decided to be stuck on stupid. Like that's what that is. When you choose not to take in new information when it's presented, you can't you can't be called anything more than ignorant, And if you've
Yeah.
committed to ignorance, then I mean, you're being stupid. So,
Yeah. I mean, something that I actually forgot to mention. So there are former UN representatives who have come out and complained about the fact that the Netflix documentary trailer was dropped in the middle
oh
of
yeah.
Earthshot. And like imagine you spend your whole life like
Mhm,
working, to have your career at this point, and then you're basically being, a mouthpiece for the royal
mhm,
institution. This is a lot of complaining and explaining, wouldn't you say, Lauren?
mhm. Yes, absolutely. Like, never complain, never explain unless it directly makes you feel sad. Um, the only thing I can think is somebody must be getting paid, but I mean, from what we've seen, they don't get paid that much, so
Mm,
it's gotta be some altered loyalty, some true belief that, there is a hierarchy and somehow some people are just born better because I really don't know how as a PR person, as someone who has worked at the UN, you'd figure there'd be a little loyalty. I can only imagine that those people are perhaps a little bit jealous that they for working in the UN don't get the same buzz as Meghan or Harry giving his speech, and
mm,
they took it upon themselves to fight the strange fight. Yeah. I also
yeah.
wonder if maybe, the fact that we even know they used to work for the UN, I'm like, that's their old job. What does that have to do with their current
Yeah.
job? So I
Yes.
feel like that's definitely William trying to say, like, we got the UN too. We got it too. Like, we can't speak there because what's a speech? But we got people from there, so it's kind of like it
Yeah.
reminds me of when the orange president who shall not be named said that because he has relatives who went to, I think it was Harvard, it proves he's
Mm.
really smart. And I'm like,
Oh
so
gosh.
so osmosis, okay, you believe that, right? And this kind of feels like that. That kind of, I feel like Will is just, he's grasping at straws while drowning via a kiddie pool. Like he can get up.
Yeah.
He can make choices, but he's chosen to just lay there and flop. So, the fact that that award show could be overshadowed by a trailer after you've met like a president, it just says that you're not bringing anything. And they had a what, almost 15-year plus head start, and
Yes.
you get what you get when you don't put your hat in the ring. It is what it is.
Yeah, and you're so right. I mean, they're trying to, bring in these former UN people. Well, Harry and Meghan are working with the UN now, and again,
Mhm.
it's like this. It's the copy paste.
But, like, you know what it is? It's copy paste, like, 3 degrees after you first pasted. Like, it's when it starts to get pixelated and you can't really see anything. Everyone's eyes just look like a dot of darkness and light on either side, like, you can't really see. It's that kind of copy paste. It's like 1980s facsimile. You press down hard copy, and then like 15 pages later, all you see is like a faded outline.
Oh God,
It's I mean, am I wrong, Anne?
guys, this Lauren Brown girl, does she sound like she needs her own podcast?
I'm just sorry. I do not mean to be to be taking over. I'm just saying,
No, you
you know,
do. You sound
it's
like you need your own
galling. You
podcast.
just okay. Well, who knows? Maybe that's in the future. I will take lessons and I will plan. But
I encourage
I
it.
honestly think they're making their own bed and then they're mad when someone else has a house they built.
Yes, 100%. And okay, so in response to all of this,
Hmm.
the tabloids have been clapping back, and the Sun ran a story saying that those Brits needed a lesson. So trying to basically turn the country against him. And let's be very clear, Harry's the only member of the royal family that served in the front line.
Hmm.
He served twice in Afghanistan, and he served in the army for 10 years.
Hmm.
So this is not someone that hates his country. He loves his country. He does not like the vicious institutions that have tried to ruin his family, and none of us should.
Right. Right.
And so, in response to this, he has actually responded officially to the story. Harry said, "This is a baseless hit piece masquerading as journalism. The story is riddled with inaccuracies, not least of which is a quote erroneously attributed to Prince Harry. To accuse a man who spent 10 years serving his country of wanting to teach that same country a lesson is not only an attempted distraction, but an unfortunate and predictable tabloid strategy. To pit him against his country is shameful and manipulative, especially when Prince Harry has never spoken ill of the British public." And the what Harry actually said in the Oprah interview, if you go back and watch it, he said
Hmm.
that it was the tabloid press that created an environment of racism, hatred, and bigotry, but the British public itself is not bigoted. Those were his exact
Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
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 And also, let me just wrap up with some of my clips. And Lauren, you can chip in anytime you want. But Aoki Lee
Okay.
Simmons, said, she tweeted this yesterday. Racists can't seem to grasp there is nothing they can convince me about this woman living her life with her man, making her show, podcast, charity. You don't have to watch, yet you clearly do. Dip anytime and we will not miss you. Hashtag Sussex Squad. Aoki Lee Simmons is part of the Sussex Squad, y'all.
Straight up.
She said she did nothing to anyone, but she could have robbed the royals blind and I wouldn't care. Anything black and anything black and brown people ever get from that institution, benefiting daily from exploiting and invading literally 90% of the world, couldn't be a drop in the ocean of what they owe.
She is
Checking the
woke.
British, yeah, she
She's
went
so
for it,
woke.
hun. She said, checking
Hmm.
the British Museum catalogue, all the crown jewels, before you try me on this point. And then somebody asked her, why do you care so much? And then she responded by saying, I don't know her personally, but I like and care about her because I can, and I've heard of her, even if she hasn't heard of me. The opportunity to give compassion is an honor and a gift. Maybe you should look for some.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh. See
Give
that
her.
that is the thing right there. What Aoki Lee Simmons said in that last tweet, and if I may,
Mhm.
you know, it's the it's what I think surprises so many derangers is the fact that there are people who seem so passionate about supporting and calling out or supporting Harry and Meghan and calling out the haters. What shocks them and confuse them is the idea that you could like someone despite their identity or without having to be an exact copy of them. Like they don't understand why Aoki, who is not Meghan and is not, a sister to Meghan and, doesn't know her, they don't understand how you can respect and honor someone. And I think it really speaks to the fact that, when people say in films, "Oh, I can't watch that because, it's a quote unquote people of color film. It's a blank film. It's not for me. It's a whatever." It's that
Mhm.
mindset of like, how can you care for something passionately when you can't put yourself directly into it.
Mhm.
And what they don't realize is the majority of the world has spent their lives, our lives, saying, oh, we've got to empathize with people who don't necessarily look like us because we may be surrounded by that, or
Mhm.
we're in diverse neighborhoods where it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I got you, I got me, we got all of us. And because of that, we can not only care for people who look different, but more specifically, we see multiple perspectives. And so we can see when something looks shady or is just downright incorrect. A lot of these haters come from a bubble, and it's a bubble of lies. And so they've just been breathing nothing but noxious fumes and lies their whole lives.
Mhm.
And then when someone as young as Aoki, who's as global, because let's be real, she's got parents, she's been places, she can see some
Yeah.
things, and
Yeah,
she
she's
has
biracial
witnessed
herself.
biracial, global. She has access to so she's someone who has every right and reason to not only connect to Megan, but to understand that there's a larger world than just the one she went into, right? Because one of the things she
Mhm.
talks about is how she works with the UN and she does charity. So
Yes.
there are so many people, and who are just completely, global. And the people who are hating, you see them just closing off and closing off. And it's a shame because they're missing out on so much just from jealousy, envy, and our word, you know?
Yeah. And also in the midst of all of this, the royal rodents
Oh
are
no.
scrambling. So one of them, Victoria Arbiter, who clearly doesn't
Mhm.
fan her eyelashes.
I wonder if she's gotten them back, if they're struggling to grow in. We'll see.
She has not found her eyelashes. She was going back and forth with Anne Boleyn on uh, Twitter,
Mhm.
and Anne Boleyn actually screenshot and shared the inbox messages that were going back and forth between them. So Victoria Arbiter messaged her respectfully, particularly as of previously shared respectful tweets. I did not share an opinion. I shared a quote. But your tweet incited the type of hate you tried to push back on for Harry and Meghan. William's quote is meaningful in that every frame of the documentary will be analysed and pulled apart, not by me, but by a global press. As I said to another, the abusers only doubled down, as I know from personal experience. As
Mm.
always, I wish you nothing but the very best. So Anne Boleyn responded by saying, when you acted as though you had seen the Oprah interview before actually having done so, did you consider
Mm.
your own role in perpetrating false narratives about Harry and Meghan? With all due respect, Victoria, I suggest you take a long, hard look in the mirror. I might also remind you that I am a R survivor. I know full well the ramifications of telling one story and the lengths that abusers will go to in order to keep their victims quiet. Some of us
Mhm.
don't tell our stories to save ourselves. Sometimes we tell our stories to save others from the pain that we've endured. I firmly believe that Harry and Meghan feel this way too. I wish you everything that you put out into the world, good or
Oh.
bad. The choice is yours. Cheers. Very
Oh.
gracefully said by Anne Boleyn. And you know what's sad about all
Mhm.
of this is that I feel like the British public don't even understand the favor that Harry and Meghan are doing by exposing tabloid press, and how
Yeah.
this could actually be the beginning of a great change if we want it to be. And as I've said 100 times before, if you do not care about Harry and Meghan, you don't have to care about Harry and Meghan, but you absolutely have to care about the way in which the tabloid press in this country behaves. It is dangerous and it needs to be
Mhm.
stopped.
Mhm. Well said. Well said. And it's something that the focus is remaining on Harry and Meghan, and not on what about the quality of journalism that we're seeing? And I think you're
Mm,
absolutely right. And Anne Boleyn was bringing up a great point. I definitely do believe that the reason they are sticking to this fight, and I think especially Harry is sticking to this fight, is because he believes there is a bigger purpose in this. I think he's seeing, like in the trailer, where he talks about the way that women in this family are treated. So he's taking this
yes.
beyond his wife or his mother. I'm sure he's thinking of Fergie. Sure he's thinking of Ford Fiesta. Uh, you know,
He might
there
even be
is
thinking of Kate. You could be surprised.
exactly. You know, it,
Yeah.
it's it's there is a need I want to say this respectfully because again, I also know that there are media issues in my own country, um,
Mm.
in all the countries I claim. Um, but there is a need for people to look at the deeper picture sometimes. I think it's very easy for us to play the lazy game and just read the headlines and let them do the work. And we like to trust that someone else has done the background. But the honest
Mm.
truth is, we can't go through life, call ourselves conscious citizens, and then be unconscious when we're getting our information, you
Mhm.
know? And I think a lot of the people who are anti fans of Harry and Meghan, because that's what they are still fans, the anti-fans are I think they'd see themselves as smart. I think many of them have degrees, and whether or not they have degrees doesn't make them smart, but you get what I'm saying.
Mhm.
They are in a place where they should they see themselves as being informed. And so therefore it should be getting all of them PO'd when they're seeing lies and constant misdirection in their media, in their journalism, you know? To me, it's like, "Hey, what about integrity?" I think one of the things that helps in the US, frankly, is that we've got comedians, you know? A lot of comedians are very, very, uh, honest about the absolute ridiculousness that happens, you know, within the US political system. And I know that the UK has a very strong comedic culture, but I don't know how much it gets pedestalized when you compare it to, a tabloid. I mean, someone like Trevor Noah with The Daily Show, although he's going to be leaving soon and we're all very sad about it,
Mm.
he has sway. He's got 10 million subscribers. His videos get a million views on average. That's a strong viewership. And between him and people like Stephen Colbert, this won't be much longer, and I promise.
No worries.
Um, they both have massive fact checkers because our comedians who parody the news have a higher requirement to prove their points and be founded in fact than some of our journalists even. But it does help to keep the journalists honest because they want the ratings that the comedians have. And I don't know that there's that weird entertainment media backstop in the UK, and it's just
Mm.
ridiculous because, like I said, if I were there, I'd be getting mad at, we don't need to hear about Harry and Meghan today. What about gas? You know?
It is there, but I feel like they tend to tread quite carefully when it comes to the royals and the press
Mm,
because they don't want to get grilled either because they really can destroy.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing. The UK is vicious in a different way. I think the US just has too many famous people at the same time that it's like no one can get too much fire for too long. It's
Yes,
very
it's
different.
true.
Yeah,
All right, thank you so much for that, Laura. And Karen, I see you in the
absolutely.
chat.
All right, I'm hopping off. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Karen. How
Hi,
are you?
Scotty. Hi. I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
Fantastic.
Yeah. Um, I wasn't going to come in. I was listening, and I said, "Oh, okay, they're hitting some topics that um, I've thought of and would like to, chat about."
Mm.
As Lauren was saying, in regards to, people being worldwide, and one of the things that I've discussed with my brothers is that from the sound of of the comments that has been coming in over this time, over the years, and and things that's being said, and I think Petal even too was mentioning it today in her podcast. A lot of the people that are making these comments, it doesn't seem like they travel a lot, and or even travel, or even if they travel, they haven't even traveled to this to places like the States. Maybe they've been traveling to places, in the UK that's basically, enclosed, just like England. But it doesn't seem like they have that worldly experience as to, or that global experience as to, the type of work Meghan does, or what she's done before she actually met Harry or joined the royal family, or even what that worldly and globally thinking of the basically most people in the world, because you know, and I've said it before on the podcast, there's, you know, there's a lot more outside of the enclosed that they're used, you know, that they're used to, because it sounds like, you know, people that are in bondage, people that are in captivity, the way they speak, it's like some of the things that, you know, Harry and Meghan is doing, it's like they're astonished about it, you know, and this is, yeah,
Oh yeah, I mean,
and
do you remember after 40 times 40 came out and that video came out, people were astonished that Meghan's house was so clean.
yeah, it's like they're astonished about, you know, these things are like shocking. It's like, you know, come on, we are not back in the days, and even, you know, things that's coming up with like Africa and, you know, South Africa and you know, these places that they, you know, would call third world countries, you know, and we're living under this, you know, kind of colonialism years ago, has advanced so much. Okay, look at Barbados and Rihanna and all that stuff. It has advanced so much, and it seems like the British people are still at a standstill. Their mentality of thinking is still at a, like it. I am so in awe as to, you know, like I look at a, you know, a 5-year-old, like, you know, a 5th grader, and I can communicate with that kid, you know, more about what's going on in the world and how people, you know, relate to the world, how people think. And I'm not seeing that from the British people with their comments that's coming out. It's very limited, and, you know, it's really, and I can see why they can't understand why they can't understand Harry and Meghan, and, you know, they feel that you know, the Middletons, the Waleses and Charles and Camilla, you know, is, you know, as they say, you know, what is it, popular, this, that. I can see why there's, because they're still living in that cycle.
Yeah,
They're
because
still back there in that cycle.
Britain is still in many ways a very kind of class-driven society with the royals and the aristocracy and everything connected to them very much at the top. So the idea of, I think, two people going and creating their own lives and businesses, and, you know, being very unapologetic in their
like shocking to them.
ambitions. Yeah, it's shocking to them, because it's everything that you're, I guess, in a way, told is too much and that perhaps you're not meant to have. And then even when you do have it, you still have to go and bow down and get your little trinket.
Exactly. And they're still in that cycle and that mentality. And the other thing that I picked up on, you know, on this trailer and the one before, and it came to my attention, I think I mentioned it to you before, from, it looks like like people that works in, you know, the royal family, not like the aides and people like you know, what is it, so what is it, Susan Hussey and those people that work in there. It
palace,
seems like it was, it seems like it was a money-making machine, right? Because every time the Reuters mention, they have information from the palace, they have from their confidant in there, and I'm wondering, how are they getting this information? I've been wondering, how are they getting this information? But it seems like every one of them in there that works in there with that royal family, they all give information, whether it's true or false, okay, to the tabloids, to the press, and they were being paid for it. They were being paid for those information. That was a side piece that they had, making money on that. Okay,
doesn't it just show like how little loyalty this institution actually inspires? And we know that the palace does pay very poorly. I mean, I remember they had advertised an assistant for Kate, and then people started posting that you can earn more as manager at McDonald's. So it's no wonder that
Exactly.
these people were briefing.
Yeah, and I think the palace and the royal family know, the queen know that this was happening, because you know they wanted it to happen as well too, because this is a way that for them to make themselves relevant, right? So in a way, when the press and the tabloids are getting this information, and it's grown over the years, and more people join the machine and getting paid for this. It became a big thing in there, and it came to the point where the tabloids and the press basically own the royal family, because if they don't give them information, okay, if they don't give them, and it's the same thing Meghan was talking about the in the basement when they would have these parties for them. Okay, this is something that was going on, and they expect her to come in on this, and she says, "No, I'm not. I'm not going to be a part of this, because it's basically exploitation. That's basically what it is." So they were being paid to spill on one another and twist whatever story, whichever way the palace wanted to go. And it's just crazy. It's just crazy. As Harry said, information going out plus information were being trumped up, and so I can understand that, because these people were being paid. They were being paid by the tabloids to give whatever information, so the tabloids can say, well, okay, they have an inside source, and they keep saying this inside source. And I think that's one of the things they're worried about, because when the truth comes out, eventually the inside source is going to come out, and they're going to start spilling on themselves, because I'm sure, like we talk about Harry's an army person, and he knows this thing is happening, and it's happening to him and his wife now. Okay, no. You know something? He set the bait. Because they put information. He put information out and put things out there. And if it went out into the tabloids or into the news, he knew where it came from. Okay, this is an army man. He's not playing. Okay, so he knows. He set the bait, and he knows who put out that information, and he knows what's going on.
Even in the trailer, he says that the truth will come out. And going back a little bit further, when he did the Me You Can't See with Oprah, one of the things that he said was the tabloids are scared that they will lose control of the narrative. And I guess that was almost like a hint of what was to come.
But at that time he's basically saying that the tabloids own the royal family. That's basically what he was saying there.
All right, we'll wrap things up, because we're going over 2 hours. But last question, Karen, what do you just a guess? What do you think is going to be the biggest revelation to come out?
No, I think what's going to be happening with this. Okay, there's not going to be a lot of naming and stuff like that. Naming and stuff like that. I think this is going to focus a lot on the press and the tabloids. Because I think that's what Harry wants to put a stop into. I think the royal family should be thanking him, because he's basically returning control to them. Okay, taking that control back from the tabloids and turning it back to the royal family, and they should be thanking him. Like, he's throwing himself under the bus to save them. Okay, and I think that's what the focus is going to be on. Instead of pointing fingers and calling out names. I think the names and stuff and the figure out is going to happen, but the names and stuff is going to come out, but it's not going to come out by Harry and Meghan. It's going to come out by those same tabloids people and the guilty ones inside of there that was feeding that information. So we're going to figure it out, and they're going to come out talking on each other themselves. But Harry and Meghan is going to be looking at the whole overall thing, okay, that started this whole thing on them, because as they said in the trailer, everything was going fine, and then it didn't. Okay, why didn't it?
That is a question
Okay.
that we all want answered. But
Exactly.
thank you so much, Karen.
Not a
Thank you so
problem,
much,
sweetie.
Karen.
You take care too.
Can't wait to see you. Can't wait to see you
I
at
know.
Dusseldorf.
Exactly.
It's gonna be a
Me
hoot.
too. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you to all the callers that came up today and all of you in the comment section. Wow. Yeah, a lot of questions that we have that we want answered, and hopefully we will get answers in the documentary. And more than anything, you know, obviously us as squaddies, as fans, we want answers, but this is ultimately about Harry and Meghan and their truth and the bigger picture and what all of this means in relation to the British public and the tabloids. So I want to, first of all, thank you so much to Marcel Kendrick. He said, you're right on point with everything. All callers are magnificent in their analysis, especially Lauren Brown. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for complimenting Lauren as well. Also, I want to say thank you to everyone who has donated to my judo club. I can see your donations coming through. I appreciate it so much, and I'm so sure that they will appreciate it too. Thank you to Alan Vernon, who donated, Kimber, who donated 20 coffees. Thank you so much. That is so generous of you. Florence, to Purple Light 22, who donated to the Team Pot for the WJF Open, and also to Black Queen. I think 2 of you may have donated anonymously. But yes, just for the next couple of days, weeks, if you could donate to my judo club, please. Instead of to me, I would very much appreciate it. I really want them to get as much support as possible. So that is all for today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the mods. No archetype. Do you know what? I was actually about to say Archetypes Tuesday tomorrow, but there is no Archetypes Tuesday tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have something Tuesday or something Wednesday will come back in the next series. But I guess we can re-listen to some Archetypes episode. No, or we could do that. But also, like I said earlier, Starsuckers by Chris Atkins, great documentary to watch before Harry and Meghan's Netflix documentary drops on Thursday. But tomorrow is the Kennedy Award, so we should see the couple. And because that will be US time, I might wait later on into the night to do a podcast. But of course, if anything comes during the day, I may just do an earlier podcast. So we'll see. So that's that. Thank you so much, everyone. I will finish with your comments, and yeah, we will call it a day, and I'll give somebody the last word of the day. Right. Oh, Bottleman, you're just coming in with the did you just come in at the part where we're talking about Aoki Lee? Yes, she has said some very nice things about Meghan, and you know, like she said, it costs nothing to have compassion, and I think people with compassion who are empathetic just understand what is going on and what is being done with this woman. Right? You don't even have to be a fan of Harry and Meghan to just look at the situation and go, do you know what? This is just disgusting. This is, I mean, I want to say bullying, but this is just beyond bullying. This is the targeted harassment of one person because a bunch of people have a vendetta. Oh, thank you so much, Nobi D. Oh, Lewis, yes, we can listen to Archetypes again for another 12 weeks. All right, cookies and cream, I will give you the last word of the day. Everyone, please stay safe. Pray, don't peg, and hydrate. Amen to that. All right, I will see you tomorrow, guys and dolls. Ciao.
By myself, you know. Went through every number on my telephone. I thought that all I needed was someone to hold, but I was wrong. I never thought that maybe I needed a friend.
Meghan's marrying into a family which has, to put it mildly, a dodgy track record on race. It's not Meghan Markle's problem, it's their problem.
All right, today we're going to talk about how we can find out and how much we can find out and what it takes to get there. So first we have to decide how much do we want to find out. So let's say in this case, I want to find out at a level of 7. Okay, so I find that level on my graph and I come horizontally to my gradient line. Where it intersects with my gradient line, I'm going to come straight down to where it intersects with my fuck around line. That there is going to tell me how much I have to fuck around to find out what I need to find out. See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out. And also, if you stay down here and you never fuck around, you'll never find out. So I hope this lesson is helpful. Thank you.